Hello everyone, welcome to Crystal Eclipse. My name is Jessica. In this video, we'll be comparing you with your person or your future spouse's ex. This will be their most recent relationship, or at least the most prominent relationship. I do have a previous video on this, but it's been a while since I posted that, and this was a request, so I wanted to get this out as soon as possible. I have 4 stacks for you to choose from in this video. If I can find the previous one, I'll link it in the description box, and maybe you'll be called to that one. But starting over here, we have rose quartz, we have zebra quartz. This one does have like a rainbowy color on it, rainbow shift. We have labradorite, and then lastly obsidian. So choose whichever stack or stacks call out to you, and remember, if multiple stacks call out to you, just go with whatever you feel is actually meant for you within each individual stack. You can check the description box or the comment section for timestamps if you'd like to skip directly to those stacks. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello to everyone who chose pile 1 or stack 1. We have that rose quartz. It is pink in person. It just doesn't pick up on camera. I've already laid out all of the cards here so that, I don't take up too much of your time. I'll go over them quickly so you do know what's out on the table. We have the 6 of Swords, the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Cups, the 6 of Cups, Death, the 6 of Cups again, and once again, the 6 of Cups with sentiment and joy, the King of Wands with optimism and innovation, the Hen with nurturing, and the Spider with creativity. Over here, we have shame and we have fear of abundance. So we got quite a few cards coming out when it comes to you and this person's ex. And it really does seem like we're moving through a lot of like emotions, almost like this person knew, like your person, your future spouse, whoever this is that you're watching this video for. It feels like this person knew that their ex was not right for them. And it's interesting because we have fear of abundance and shame. It's almost like they went through it, or they stayed with this person despite knowing that it wasn't right for them, or it wasn't a good relationship. They just stayed with them. Maybe they felt like they didn't deserve more, or they felt like, that was the best that they could get, or it was too difficult to remove themselves from that relationship if they had been in it for a while. And we see a lot of that with that 6 of Swords is a journey outward. And normally when the 6 of Swords comes out, we see it as somebody who has like quite a road ahead. It's not something that's an easy exit. And in this card, we see that they're on the other side. So that's where you come in. They've reached the other side and they're moving forward. They're no longer in that like choppy ocean trying desperately to get to like a safe space. We see that they're already there because the sand is over on the edge, and we see that it's moving forward. I love that we swap from 6 of Swords, which is, a negative, sad card, into the 6 of Cups 3 times. And the 6 of Cups, hands down, is my favorite card because it says 3 very important things. It says, 1, this person is your soulmate. 2nd is this person is entering your life at the right time. And 3rd, this is a bond that was created for the betterment of both of you. So when it comes to this past person, we don't see any of that energy with them because we have fear of abundance and we have shame, which is like them just being mad at themselves for allowing that relationship to last as long as it did, for staying in that relationship, or not realizing what, was better out there, or even thinking that they could do better. It might have just been something where in their mindset they just weren't, very positive about themselves. Even with the Ace of Wands next to that 6 of Swords, if we get an energy from that, it's somebody who planned to sort of exit but never got the opportunity, or almost got like roped back in, which is interesting because this one sort of looks like there are ropes that are hanging above their heads. So it's sort of like it's being drawn back to the past rather than being tied down. You allow them to move into this King of Wands stage where they have freedom. They're allowed to do what they want, meaning they can, spend their money where they want to. They can hang out with friends. They can be happy. They can be themselves. And I think like in no area are they restricted. Might have been with this previous person, since this card would be more of an expression. They might have said like, your jokes aren't funny, or, I don't like the way you talk. I don't like the way you do these things. But with you, it's completely different. Like, you enjoy their jokes, you love their sense of humor, you love their energy, you love the way that they bring this huge vibrant light into a room. And that's because you balance them out. You're coming in as that Ace of Cups, where like normally we wouldn't see compatibility between fire and water, but here we see that you complement each other. So where you're like, you know, either introverted or extroverted, they're the opposite. They're either extroverted or introverted. You understand what they're saying, so they don't have to repeat themselves. They don't have to try, you know, over and over to get the point out. And I feel like that was a lot of the problem with this previous person, is they almost like cut them off. They made them feel like they were wrong, or like their opinions didn't matter. And even with that shame, it was like maybe they felt like they were doing things incorrectly all the time because of the way that this person just, you know, almost like found flaws in everything, every aspect of this person. Their ex just found a lot of flaws in them. And we see your energy coming through with nurturing and creativity. And it's like you have a much different approach to them. Even like just having nurturing come out with the 3-6 of cups, it's somebody who's very, very loving, very responsive, grounded, but able to almost like lighten things, right? So you might not be the most blunt when it comes to things. You're honest, but you care about the response you're going to get. So it's not about you know, hurting them. It's about helping them and trying to improve them, trying to help them become the best version in the most loving way possible. And even in the spider card, like normally we wouldn't want to approach a spider, but in this one, she has a clear understanding of what this spider is, what it means. And there's such a like a polar opposite difference between you and the ex. It's like this is coming through and they could finally receive. And that's a lot about what comes through the 6 of Cups. It's about receiving what the other person has to offer. It's the counterpart. It's the one that really brings a new like era into your life. And we have the Ace of Cups, which is literally, like always literally, the card that is described as abundance, right? It's the one that's overflowing. Everything is coming through to you. But we have fear of abundance. And to have the best card come through, it's showing that when compared to their ex, you are true abundance. You are everything in every aspect. You are all that they've hoped for, all that they've wished for. And not to mention having death come through. We're seeing death as not like a negative card. We're seeing death as this, it's finally over, like that person is out of their life. And I feel that strongly. Like for some of you, it might just be that you want to hear this, but there's nothing to worry about when it comes to this person, because you two are not even comparable. It's, you know, nothing to think about. This person, like if they don't want to talk about this person, it's not because like they're trying to prevent drama or anything. It's because they just want this person gone. You know, they just don't want to think about their energy or what happened in the past anymore. They don't want to be reminded of what was, because they have that abundant future with you. They have that stability, that love, that hope. And one of my favorite things about this card in particular, when it comes to the 6 of Cups, is we see the root system underneath the tree. And most trees have a root system that reflects the top of them. So the roots go just as deep, just as wide as the leaves and branches. And it's a part you don't see. It's the part that you're like, you know, not always aware of. But that's who you are to this person. You are the one that stabilizes them, the one that brings them the nutrients. You know, you are that nurturing, caring, loving person to them that helps them grow, helps them thrive and reach that, you know, that better stage, that newness that represents, you know, the brightness with you. And I think they immediately know that soulmate aspect is completely, you know, obvious to them. There's nothing that makes them question it. There is an immediate connection with you. And we have true, pure, like untainted love with this rose quartz. So it really is something like absolutely beautiful. But that's what I'm seeing here with this first stack and that rose quartz. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I do hope you have a wonderful day, week, and year. Bye-bye. Hello everyone who chose pile 2. We have that zebra quartz. I hope you can see that like rainbow shift on it. I've already laid out all of the cards for this reading, so I don't waste your time. I'll go over them quickly so you know what is out here on the table. Starting up here, we have the Queen of Swords, the Fool, the Magician, the King of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups, the Chariot with discipline and determination. We have the Four of Wands with comfort and community, the Butterfly with evolution, and the Eagle with freedom. I really like that we have these two cards over here. They are joy and overwhelmed. And the interesting thing, and every time I pull those cards, is they have the same sort of like liquid, I guess, within them, but they represent completely different things. So we have joy with just happiness, you know, everything's going well, but then we have overwhelmed with the same liquid, but it's overflowing. And I think that's the perfect representation of you and their ex, where you are bringing in joy because you're almost like you're coming through at the right level, the right speed. You have the right energy that matches them. But this person, it just like, it was too much. It was too much for them to handle. Either their ex had just too much energy going on. Maybe like they were like argumentative. They were just a little, you know, on the mean side, or just, you know, some people just like to start an argument, a fight for no reason, or just debate, or tell them, you know, they want things done their way. And while you're over here, just, I think you have a much kinder way of saying like what you have to say. You're not saying it in like a brutal way. And we have that in the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is good because she's honest, but she's not trying to hurt your feelings. Whereas the King of Swords would probably try to hurt your feelings. And I feel like that's more of that ex's energy of just like saying stuff just to hurt you. And it really cause a lot of difficulty and discomfort for this person, whether it be your future spouse, whether it be the person that you're thinking about right now. Just cause some major issues. I feel like some setbacks because we have evolution and freedom over here, like a need of change. Also with the Fool, like almost like a renewal is needed in this situation just to move forward. But when it comes to that person, it's just they're it was a very negative energy to be around. And I think it only grew stronger and stronger to the point where this person had to cut them off or say like, I can't do this anymore. And that's where we get that release, that movement forward. But I think this person made your person, you know, your future spouse, whoever this is, sort of reevaluate a lot of things because they realized what was not good for them and what they needed to look for, and also what they were deserving of. Because I think with this person, they sort of settled on a lot of things. Maybe whatever stage they were in their life, they were just like, you know, I just want somebody. Or like if they were down on themselves, they were choosing somebody who was like the embodiment of their own feelings. So somebody who treated them the way they felt they deserved to be treated. But we see that balancing coming through with the movement. And then we see like a better situation coming through into that King of Wands, which is like vibrant energy. And that's all toward you. Like they get a revival completely when it comes to the relationship they have with you. And it becomes a steady thing. They want this to be lasting. While with this other person, they were like waiting for it to end. With you, they're seeing it as like forever, you know, as something that like might have taken a while to arrive, but is definitely more than worth the wait. And we have the Ace of Cups over here at the end with this abundance, overflow. And we have overflow in both of these cards, but one is negative and one is positive. And you're at the positive side of the overflow, where you're not too much. You're not, you know, yelling. You're not fighting. You're not countering them. You're not finding flaws constantly that, you know, aren't even real. But I also feel like there are more aspects to just you bringing out joy. And I say that because we have the Fool, which has a joyful aspect to it, of sort of like releasing the past, releasing negativity, and embracing the future, or just doing something that's fun for the sake of having fun, not just dwelling in negativity. We have the Chariot, which is movement forward and not looking back. The Chariot does not turn around. The Chariot just continuously moves forward. And then the Four of Wands is normally a wedding card. It's a celebration. It's a party. We see comfort and community. But here I think like that's what you bring. You bring comfort into their life, community into their life. And I think you sort of like allow them to prosper again. There's the ability to go out, have fun. Maybe go out to parties, maybe go out to movies, go out to events, whatever it is. It could even go out to just like see the stars. You know, it doesn't have to be anything really huge, but it just them getting out and doing things that are fun, because it doesn't seem like they were able to do a lot of those things because there was a lot going on in their head when it came to this previous person. That's where we see this release and this movement forward within these two cards, because your energy just has a really nice like, I feel like you want forever, you want permanence, you know, you want that, like, you want that spouse, you want that future, you know, husband, wife, whatever it is, life partner, but you're not doing it in a way where you don't want them to live. You know, you don't want them to give up everything that they love just to be with you. And I feel like this person did. Like, if they had a hobby, I felt like this person would make them give up their hobby, or maybe cut them off from friends that they really cared about, and they couldn't see their family as often. It was a lot of things where I felt like I feel like they were very restricted, you know. And we see that like a lot. There's like a single character in each of these cards. It's not a group that's coming through. And I think your energy on them brings them back to this, like, you know, sort of like group family gatherings in society. But it really is a completely different energy that you have. Even with like these two down here in this last card, they're all capable of flying. So there's nothing that's holding them down. There's nothing that's tying them to the ground. And you are that person that sort of like gives them wings. They can grow, they can prosper. And the way you sort of like you communicate so well, you know. And I think there was a lot of misunderstandings when it came to the previous relationship. A lot of things were just like, it didn't make sense, and they tried really hard, but they almost got, like, you know, rejected every time, or like turned down. And there wasn't ever a two-sided argument. It was one-sided, and the ex was always right. But you have such a way of like making sure that people, and I don't think it's like solely with this person, I think when it comes to everyone, you have a great way of communicating with people so they understand where you're coming from. So you can really like explain yourself well. There's no like confusion, you know, misunderstandings. You really are capable of communicating your feelings, your thoughts, so that others can understand you. And there's a patience about you that, you know, a lot of people, I feel like in this person's life, like they don't really have that patience, and they don't have that understanding. They don't have the sort of like motivation that you give them. And I think even the way that you tell them like they're capable of so much more is something that they're, you know, just not used to. But you have such like a lovely bright energy about you. But that's what I'm seeing here with this second stack and that zebra quartz over there. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I do hope you have a wonderful day, week, and year. Bye bye. Hello everyone who chose pile 3. We have that Labradorite over here. So I've already laid out all the cards so that I don't waste your time. I'll go over them quickly so that you know what's out here on the table. Starting over here, we have the King of Wands, the Seven of Wands, the Knight of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles, the Two of Cups, the Nine of Wands. The Traveler here is the Fool. We have the Hanged Man. The Traveler has adventure and potential. We have patience and perspective here. Then we have the Coral with foundation, and the Turkey with grounding. Over here we have optimism and fear, which are sort of like opposites in a way. Those two cards show like this person's mentality before and this person's mentality after they meet you. So when this relationship starts, whether it's your future spouse, your current, you know, partner, whoever it is that you're thinking about or hoping would come toward you. When it comes to their ex, it's interesting. We start off with the King of Wands because we see them in a strong energy, and this is almost a defensive energy for it to come out first. So it's one who's sort of like on edge, somebody who's a little worried about things, somebody who might expect almost like an argument, or might expect somebody to say something about them. So they almost like in a way have no emotions, because it's one of the lesser emotion cards. When it comes to the kings, we would see the sword as the most, the King of Swords as like the least emotionally driven, and then after that, that's where we'd get the King of Wands. And with that energy, sometimes it has this like almost like I don't care or I don't want to care. And it can be an ego thing, but I feel like it's not necessarily an ego with this person, with this, you know, this spouse, this person that's on your mind. It's not coming across as an ego. It's more coming across as like a shield. Like that's what they become to protect themselves, so that they don't, you know, let anybody hurt them, so that they don't like get knocked down. But we have the Seven of Wands coming through, and that's where you have a difference, because Seven of Wands is somebody who has the higher ground. They're still fighting, you know, they're still trying to make it into a better stage in life, but they have the higher ground, which means they're more successful in this stage. And with you, it's bringing them into this better energy. They're more at peace. They're more like they're listening. They're not always defensive or always like closed off like they were with this previous person. They're more in tune with themselves. And I feel like with you in particular, you have this like awareness of your anger, your sadness, your happiness. Like you're very understanding. There's something that you're very in tune with yourself, and because of that, you sort of like pass it on to this person, where they gain the same ability to just be very self-conscious or self-aware when it comes to it's just anything they're going through. They're just very like almost like they can look within and understand what's going on. And they almost like in a good way, they downgrade from that king to the knight. And the good thing is they're not defensive. They're putting their energy into different things that are more positive. And a lot of that would be you just putting their energy into you and then choosing that to move forward. So we see them go from the Knight of Wands into the Knight of Pentacles, and if it were to continue, then we'd see them turn into the King of Pentacles, which is life partner, future spouse, permanent energy, somebody who is so unbelievably devoted. And I do feel like with the Knight of Pentacles tying into the Two of Pentacles, or Two of Cups, sorry, we see somebody who's coming out as like so super devoted, because you've allowed them this time to sort of transition into this energy, to bring out the best in them, to put down that shield, and to move forward. Because despite having whatever setbacks this relationship caused, especially since we see that as fear with this ex, moving forward with the Knight of Wands, it's like that one card that says, despite, you know, being knocked down, I'm gonna get back up. I'm gonna keep moving forward. And it's all because of your energy. And I think the improvements and the just almost like revitalized outlook, like they're just sort of like completely excited about life. They see that there's such a huge, almost like difference in the world because of you. Like there's nothing that can compare to you and this previous person. And that's where we have that optimism come through, where there was fear about what the future held, fear about, you know, maybe talking up to this ex because they might get upset or they might react poorly. With you, they are happy they can communicate with you. They're happy that they can be with you. They have all this optimism toward the future about like how many years you'll have together, what you'll do together, making plans for the future. So they're very happy. They're very encouraged about what the future holds with you, and it's a complete turnaround. We say that too with the Fool right here. That's all about newness, a fresh start. But even on this card, it says adventure and potential. And it's like they're saying with you, there's a new life, there's new energy, there's new you know, grounds to discover, there's new places to see. And they really, I feel like, have such a new way of looking at life, purely because of, you know, who you are, what you bring in, how you fit into their life so perfectly. The Hanged Man is also like a reversal. So it might have been that this person, due to their ex, was more like, you know, done with relationships, or not really thinking that they'd find somebody who is permanent, who is forever. And we see a switch around with you, because you have that energy that like they can be with you forever. There's nothing that like is a problem, you know. There's nothing that about you that they see is so like, you know, bad that they can't stay with you. It's everything is just so either wonderful, or they're like, this is something I want, you know. And it's not to say like you're perfect, but I think who you are to them is perfect. So your quirks, you know, your weirdness, your communication style, everything is perfect to them. Everything is what they need, what is beneficial for them. So it's really in an interesting way. It's sort of different from the previous text where there is like a great appreciation of just who you are to them, you know, how you can communicate with them. And I see it a lot because regardless of anything, you know, arguments with decision making, whatever the future comes through, we have two cards with very similar meanings. We have foundation and grounding, and with those two coming through as this like recentering or this ability to return back to basics. It's like regardless of anything that comes along, your ability to come together and stay strong and really like rely upon each other, communicate with each other. It's like this loving energy that fills, you know, the two of you, because you're willing to work on yourselves, you're willing to work on the relationship, you're willing to move forward because of this very strong connection. We see that too with the Two of Cups, because that's like baby lovers card, and that would be, you know, soulmate energy. But that's what I'm seeing here with this third stack and that Labradorite. A really like strong connection here. Very, very strong, and a major reversal between you and this ex. But I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. And I do hope you have a wonderful day, week, and year. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone who chose pile 4. We have the Obsidian over here. So I've laid out all the cards so I don't waste your time. I'll go over them quickly so you know what's out here on the table. Starting over here, we have the Three of Wands, the Six of Cups, the Six of Wands, the Lovers. We have the Three of Cups, the Sun. Down here, we have the Devil with self-empowerment and ambition. This is called the Shadow here. We have the Magician with willpower and creation, the Wolf with instincts, and the Whale with wisdom. Now, the first thing that I thought when I laid this down was honestly like the two cards over here with trauma and anxiety. It seemed like such a like two very negative cards, and then the Three of Wands came out and I was like, ooh, major move forward when it comes to this person, this future spouse, or this person that's on your mind. When it when they compare you to their ex, or just a comparison to their ex, is like something that they worked really hard to move away from, to sort of like remove themselves from. And I'm not sure if it was just something that they were maybe feeling like they were tied to for too long, or something that just really did with these two cards, trauma and anxiety. It feels like it was a very like toxic relationship. It was not a good relationship at all. And even with Obsidian coming out to be the stone that like endlessly absorbs negativity, it's like it's reading very much like this previous relationship just needed to end, and I feel like it lasted much longer than it should have. And there's no comparison between the two of you, because who this person was, this ex, was just somebody that really was like as bad as they could get. And with the Devil coming out, but it's switching over to the Shadow, it's still something that lingers there. And I feel like it did take quite a while for them to move forward from. And it's two sort of energies that are coming through with the Six of Wands and the Lovers. And we have 3-6 cards going across the top, but they're bordered by, or like bookmarked by, by 2 3s. And it's got this sort of like dreaming or hoping for this future spouse to come along, but almost like they manifested, or they put in a lot of energy to bring you through, to like bring the timeline through. But even though they were trying really hard, this movement within the Three of Wands and the Six of Wands, it's like they had to go through quite a bit to sort of release whatever that was from the past, you know, to escape that darkness, and then to embrace you and really celebrate that, because we have double that energy here between the Lovers and the Three of Cups. It's all about a liveliness, a brightness, like a unity that is like not comparable to anyone else. And I say that, I can't say it enough, because you have the Six of Cups. It's my favorite card. That soulmate, life partner, everything you could hope for, the right person, right time. You have the Lovers, once again, soulmate. This is divine counterpart, the one that is intended for you. Three of Cups is someone also who comes in at the right time. Somebody you can celebrate with, a reunion or a reconnection. But it's somebody that, like, if you believe in past lives, this could be somebody from your past life. And then to end it all with the Sun, it's like, it's finally there. It's finally this person. Finally everything you hoped for. Finally, like, the reality that's meant to come into place and that can release from the shadow. And I like that there is a shadow here where the butterfly is flying out from, and that we end in the sun, because the sun is brightness. What does the sun not reach? There can be shadows, but I feel like it coming through says that there won't be shadows anymore. There won't be darkness. That it's all about what's to come and what you bring into this person's life. And with instinct, I think, even though it says instincts, I think I look at it more as somebody who has the courage to embrace something that, is scary to them. And this could be just them, starting a new relationship, going for it with you, putting in that energy and seeing what comes out of it. But it can also be you coming through as this person that is willing to, sort of start something fresh with this person that, wasn't in the best place with this previous relationship. But I do feel like this is an important tie-in because of all that hard work that they put in prior to you, almost like during the time that they were separated from their ex and the time you come in, they put in a lot of work. So by the time you meet them, they're in this completely brand new era where they're just like vibrant and happy, and they're like really embracing life, but they're like very reasonable now. Like they have this, like, they know what it is they want, but like they're not looking for something that's absolute. And that's to say, like, they're not looking for something that like fits a certain mold in like somebody who wants to go out and have fun. Because if they're like a very outgoing person, they're not going to be like, I only want people who are outgoing. If you're an introvert, that's fine with them. They're willing to adapt, to listen to you, to be that person you need. If you're somebody who maybe is like not into big parties or gatherings or stuff, they're willing to sort of like change their own perception of life to match with yours. So it's like there's a lot of things that they're like opening their eyes to. It's like sometimes just because the quietest person in the room doesn't garner the most attention doesn't mean like they're not deserving of attention. So I think this newness that's coming through, but also this more like they have a very clear mindset of knowing what to say no to, knowing who to sort of pass on and who to embrace, so that they can have this like this correct timeline here. And it's mostly important, I guess, when it comes to comparison between you and their ex, is to say that despite whatever you might think about this person, whatever it is that this your person tells you about their ex, it really is not somebody to compare yourself to. It's not somebody to think about. It's not somebody that should even be on your mind, because this person is so negative. Like everything that is about their ex, it just has such a negative vibe to it. And their awareness at what this relationship was, how sort of like unstable it was, how wrong it was, there's no need to try and get like a ton of information about this person. There's nothing. And I do feel like their friends and their family will be very upfront and honest with you as well about who this person was, because it just didn't seem like this person was compatible at all. And as time went by, it became more and more so like obvious that this person was not the one that they should be around. And now that we like see all the effort that they put in to get like after the relationship, I really feel like the person that you're ending up with is so amazing for you, so embracing, so loving as well, that it's like it really is a great bond between the two of you. So you really don't have any anything to compare with this person. There's nothing about that person that is anywhere near as, you know, wonderful, marvelous as you. But I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I hope you have a wonderful day, week, and year. Bye-bye.